Here's a Bible that came in today that interrupted my sermon prep time. This is Friday, and I try to have my sermons completely finished. This came in the mail around lunchtime, and I was very, very pleased to see it. It's the Open Bible. I want to go over the cover, but I'm going to do that last because I have a few pages marked. And let's look here. I have, nope, that's not the one. I have a Bible that was gifted to me by a pastor friend that retired, and I really love this new King James Open Bible. This is the 1985 edition with the American, the pages that was printed in America. It's a very good tool, and I use this occasionally. And actually, over the past, I'd say 2 months, I've really used it more than I ever have, and I really liked it. And then this one became available, and Thomas Nelson was generous enough to send me a copy of this, and I was very stoked to receive it. This old edition here is the 1985 edition, is a bonded leather, and you can see the covers come undone, and this pastor used it well. He marked it up quite a bit. I love that edition, but we're not here to talk about the 85 edition. We're here to talk about the brown genuine leather new Bible, the new Open Bible, New King James Version. When you open this up, this is a leather, and again, we'll look at the leather closer in a minute at the end. It's a paste down. I just want to get to a few of the features. Front page has this nice red. I love the multicolors in Bibles. I like it when Bibles use color for some of the words and things like that. And they did that here, and it's very, very well done. It's printed in China. This is a 9-point font. In this Bible, you have a huge, one of the tools I really like. So I'm not going to be able to go over every feature. I don't have enough space on the phone here to even record that long. There are a lot of features of this Bible. There's lots of reviews that cover different things that I'm sure you can look up. The Christian's Guide to a New Life. It's the same actually, but looks cooler. And this one is the same as the old Open Bible. But in this one, you well know that there's a topical index to the Bible. And look at that. I mean, this is the topical index. It's huge topical index. Very, very helpful. And then you have a read through the Bible in 1 year. It's got to read through the Bible plan. And then we get into the Old Testament. The Open Bible, I love the opening notes for book introductions. So this one has, let me kind of zoom in here. The first book of Moses called Genesis, the book of Genesis, the author of Genesis, the time of Genesis. This is really cool. The Christ of Genesis, keys to Genesis, and you can get key verses and stuff in there. Survey of Genesis. And then another helpful thing that I really love in the Open Bible is the outline. It will give you a great outline. If you're someone who preaches through books of the Bible, these outlines can be helpful. Maybe not always, but it can certainly be helpful. And then you hop right in here to chapter 1. If you notice, the book is in red. The chapter is in red. Chapter 2 right here, that's in red. This is a verse by verse. It's a double column layout, 9-point font, and it's verse by verse. And something that's a little bit different in the 1985 edition, they did not have the center column references. They would put the reference right at the end of the verse. You can kind of look through there. You'll see right at the reference at the end of the verse. And this one, they didn't do it that way. They have a center column here, but there's something really cool that I'm going to show you here in a minute that I like even more so than center column reference. I have minimal notes in here at the bottom. Here's the one in Genesis 1, unity of the Trinity. The notes that they do have at the bottom, I read a few of them. Here's another one. I thought were really well done. I liked it a lot. But this isn't really a study Bible as what you're used to in the traditional sense of a study Bible. But here's the poetry, so you can get a good look at the Psalms chapter 1, the poetry layout. And we'll come over to the center of the center of the Bible. Once you move from the Old Testament into the New Testament, there's a section Right in the middle, that's the visual survey. And the visual survey is pretty helpful because it gives you a big overall sweeping look at the Old Testament through the New Testament. And then you'll notice you have two symbols that says Old Testament and then New Testament here. And it kind of shows how the Bible is laid out in the historical section, poetry, and prophetic. And then it gives you some helpful tools. Again, there's a lot here that I'm not going to have time to show you every single thing in here. The history of Israel still, the prophetic books, the heart of the Jews, prophetic books, history of Israel again, the life of Jesus Christ, history of the early church, the writings of the early church, and then you get into the New Testament. New Testament, everything's exactly the same as far as you have the introduction to each book of the Bible. That's the same throughout. Then you have an outline that I find to be helpful. And then you get right into the text. One cool thing I like, it's a red letter edition. One thing I like here that I use a lot. Let me see if I can find one. Okay, so here's a subheading in Luke 9. You got a subheading here, true cost of discipleship. And then it gives you these verses here. That is helpful to me because as I preach through Scripture, when I land on a passage, I like to know where else it's found in the Bible. So this story here, Peter's confession of faith, if I look at Matthew 16, 13 through 21 and Mark 8, 27 through 31, I'm going to find this same telling in those books. And this is throughout, and I love it how they put it right. I like it to be in the text because this Bible is more of a study tool, even though it's a verse by verse. And sure enough, if you're a New King James guy, you can preach right out of this text, right out of this Bible. The font is 9, so it's not huge, but man, you're not going to get lost in this with the verse by verse. And then you come to the harmony of the Gospels. This is right after the book of Revelation, so you're getting to the back half. Just the back half right after the book of Revelation is really thick. There's a lot of helps back here. But the harmony of the Gospels, the Jewish feasts, you have weights, measures. Let's see. There's Jewish feasts, which I thought was pretty interesting. Teachings and illustrations of Christ, which you just pick any kind of topic. For example, a teaching or illustration that Jesus had on angels, for example. There you go. It's going to give you some references. Authority, backsliding, and on that goes in the back here, which I thought was really cool. The laws of the Bible. So there's quite a few pages on the laws of the Bible and where you can find those. I may have missed it. Here's Between the Testaments. I may have missed one that I thought was really cool. The Apocrypha, A Guide to the Christian Workers. I must have missed it. Prayers in the Bible. There was one that showed all the prophecies of Jesus Christ, the foretelling prophecies, and then where they were fulfilled in Scripture. There's quite a few pages on that. That was really neat. I passed it. Here's your concordance. And again, it's a large concordance. It's just a really large concordance. And then you have a few maps in the back. There's a few of their maps on the thick, glossy cardstock. And then lastly, let's talk about the leather on the Bible. This just comes in the highest grade. It comes in a few other editions. It comes in like a leather touch edition. But this one is, I guess it's the higher end. It retails for $109. Show you the box. $109 is what it retails for. And this is the genuine leather. And one thing I have to commend them for on the genuine leather is I've had genuine leather Bibles before, and typically it feels hard. Like this is a bonded leather. You can hear that. It's hard. That's bonded leather. All bonded leather is really stiff like that. But most genuine leather Bibles that I've seen, I've gotten some from like NASB, from the Lockman Foundation. They'll have the genuine leather, and a lot of it feels hard. It's hard. It's stiff, and it's not just because it has a paste down liner. The leather genuinely is stiff. I have a study Bible right here, HCSB. And it's stiff like that also. Well, never mind, it's a bonded leather. This leather on this edition here of the Open Bible is soft. This is a very, very nice, genuine leather. Do not know what animal this comes off of. I don't know what animal this is, this genuine leather. But it is stitched around the perimeter. It's still a paste down, but I do not mind the paste down one bit because this leather feels very good in the hand. And in fact, I did a video. If you just scroll back through the list, you'll see a couple videos back. I did a review on the CSB personal size Bible. And CSB uses this, their leather they use, it says goatskin leather. And this leather is not great at all. Go back and look at that video and I'll talk a little bit more about it. But this feels like a split leather that they've used. It's not a great leather. It's not going to hold up well. And they say this is goatskin, and they claim this one to be a genuine leather. But this one seems like it's going to hold up, last much longer, and it feels much better than this one here. Again, it's a very soft leather. Even with that paste liner, it's very soft. You have 3 ribbons, which I think are perfectly done. Some people say this is a single-sided satin instead of a double-sided. I really couldn't care any less about that, but I think it looks cool. In fact, that blue is the coolest looking blue ribbon I've ever seen. I love that blue ribbon. But these, and I don't use these aren't going to be functional for me. They're just decoration. I don't use these ribbons. I use a little Post-it note to mark my pages. But you have gilting. It's not art gilted. It's just regular old gold gilting. And I'm going to tell you something. If I was a new King James guy, I would use this. I'd probably preach from this one if I was a new King James guy. In fact, I might just throw it in one Sunday and preach out of this one because I really like the verse by verse. I love this a lot as a study help. As I prepare messages, I like this for a help. It's a good addition to have next to me. I like that it uses, the TR text. So this is my TR Bible. I like that. So that's a little bit different. Anyway, if you have any questions, drop them below. As always, please subscribe if you've not already subscribed. Hit like and comment if you have a question or anything that you would like to say. Have a good day. God bless.